Hello and welcome to the Kayden Show, today's best country mix. And joining me right here today is Dave Cox. Dave, how are you?
Oh, nice to see you. I'm great and lovely to be chatting to you, Kayden.
Oh, it's an honor to have you here with us today. So, kind of start by introducing yourself to everybody.
Yeah, hi. Look, I'm Dave, and I'm an independent singer-songwriter. I live in Melbourne, Australia. I've been writing songs and for about the last 4 or 5 years, seriously. But music's always been a part of my life ever since I was 13 or 14. I was the typical sit on my bed with a guitar that didn't play very well till my fingers bled. I was that sort of person that I learnt to play at a young age and parked it for a while I sort of did business, and I was in the military for a while as well. And it's really the last 4 or 5 years that I've decided it's time to sing your song. It's time to get your stories out there. So that's what I've been doing.
Absolutely, for sure. So, do you want to talk a little bit about any new projects or singles you got, Dave?
Yeah, I've got a new song out. It's called "Can't Waste a Day," and it's based on the idea, and in Melbourne, Australia, like many parts of the world, we spent the last 2 years in a lockdown
Hmm.
scenario, and it was not a good place for people with free spirits. It was a horrible place to be. So I decided, look, instead of being frustrated about it, I would put some words to some ideas. And instead of talking about the depressing aspects of it, I sort of turned it around to say, well, life's precious and every minute is valuable and every hour is even more valuable. So we can't waste that. We have to find a way to move ourselves forward. And so I wrote the song "Can't Waste a Day," and I talk about how sometimes we give ourselves these lame excuses about why we can't do something. You know, we get up in the morning and we think, oh, I'm going to do this today. And
Hmm.
then, sure enough, there's this little voice, and you said, "Well, what about this?" And you got to go there, and you got to do that. And this is the lame excuse guy that sort of lives in your head, and you have to deal with him. You got to say, "Well, you can back off because I'm getting it done. I'm moving on." So "Can't Waste a Day" is really a message. Really, it was a message to inspire myself, but it's resonating with others as well, because I think they realise that we have a journey, and you can actually change your journey, but don't waste a day. Get on with it, make it happen. So
Hmm.
that's the genesis of the last song, "Can't Waste a Day," and I guess it's I'm just about in the finishing tips of an album. So I've done about 6 or 7 individual songs or originals, and I'm moving forward with maybe another one or two with the idea to launch my debut album in the second half of this year. But "Can't Waste a Day" is a very important song in that journey, and something that I'm very happy with, and hopefully get a little airplay around the place. So that's the story of "Can't Waste a Day."
That's awesome, and I think I 1,000% agree with that because you realize that life can go by in a blink of an eye. I just did it anyway. And a completely different scenario could be happening, someone could be, you never know what will happen next. And I think to be able to spend all that time that you have now is something to always remember and never take for granted.
I certainly, and I think that's a message. Certainly was for me. I mean, time is valuable, and everything is valuable, particularly
Right.
friends and relationships, and
Hmm.
talking with people, having coffee with people. When these things are denied and taken away from you, you actually realise that these things stripped away from your life can be pretty meaningless. So we are creatures we're designed to work with each other and love one another and be together. And when this is taken away, it really leaves a hole. So,
Hmm.
so, so for me, the "Can't Waste a Day" sends a message to me about that. And also stop making these plans in your head. You make these plans in your head, and you have Plan B, you have Plan C, you have Plan D. You keep making these plans, but it's the hardest thing is that first step to actually initiate on the plan. And it made me realise that you've got to stop doing that. You've got to make your Plan A, and you've got to go Plan A. You've got to just keep going Plan A. don't keep thinking about plan B and C, because that in many ways you're conceding. You're conceding that you're not going to make your plan A. So I found that those years, well, for me, it was in the garage with my guitar. There's a lot of reflection, a lot of meditation, a lot of thinking, and and it just felt to me that, and personally for my music, this is what it's all about. You just got to get out, make it happen, go for it, don't hold back. And if you release a song and it doesn't resonate too much, doesn't matter, get another one, go harder, change it, listen. Why didn't people like it? Well, just keep moving forward and be true to yourself. Just stick to your style of music. And maybe you can change the melody style, or maybe you can change the way it sort of resonates. But just keep adapting and moving and keep going forward. That's how we become better as an independent artist, and how we can hopefully have our listeners say, we like that music. We want to have a bit more of that, and that's all we want.
That is so true. So, if you could duet or collaborate with any singer, who would you choose and why, Dave?
Well, I really love some of those artists in the US, and I tell you what, you
Mhm.
know, um, uh, Dwight. I'd love to do a bit of Dwight. I'd love to do something with Dwight, and I'd love to do something with Toby Keith, obviously, and I'd really like to do something with Brad Cox, my namesake. So that those style of singers, I really enjoy their music. I think there's something about their message, their melody, their positiveness. And I'm a great believer is, when you try and write music, just leave it a little bit on the bright side, because that's where the little bit of hope is. So they're the sort of artists that I really like. And strangely, I'm attracted to that music, and they're the sort of people I'd love to sort of do a little bit of work with if I ever had the opportunity.
Mhm. What do you like doing outside of music? Do you have any hobbies, interests, anything like that going on, Dave?
Well, I do. I actually I lead a charity in Australia called Guitars for Veterans Australia,
Oh, okay.
and it was actually born out of I met Guitars for Veterans in the USA.
Mhm.
A man by the name of Patrick Nettersheim, who runs that, who he created that about 14 years ago, and I met Patrick about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and he inspired me with what he was doing and how he was driving this forward. And for me, I said, well, I've got to bring that to Australia. So I did. So I started Guitars for Veterans Australia, and the story with that is we give a guitar and 10 lessons free to a veteran to help them with their PTSD. Because as you know, music's a healing power and a healing force. So when I'm not writing music, I'm involved with the charity and helping create energy, funding, and driving forward, giving something back to our veterans.
That's awesome, and I think that's super important to, realize too that they're super important too. And I love how you're doing that in the area of Australia. I know we do it here a lot in the US, so I think that's awesome that you're leading that for your country.
Well, it's one of those things. There's a big saying, and governments, they're all the same and they're all alike. As
Hmm.
they send them, but they don't necessarily mend them. And so when they after their deployment or after their service, they're basically cast adrift. And certainly they try to look after them where they can. But mental health is something that's not just a band aid or a tablet. Mental health is an ongoing support, structure, love,
Right.
caring.
Oh,
It,
absolutely.
there's no one silver fix here, and so what we've found and what we've recognised, and we all know that music's a beautiful thing, and it heals, and it creates love and warmth. And one veteran told me once that once he started to play the guitar, it opened up a window of serenity in his head. So if you can imagine that feeling of where your
Hmm.
mind is closed and you're crowded in with all sorts of ideas and thoughts, and then you start to play a few chords on the guitar and the serenity of that, all of a sudden like a new window's opened. And I'm a good believer is once you open the window once, that window can be opened again. so they have a new direction to think about. So music's a beautiful thing and healing. And what I found out of that, again, I've met the most beautiful people, the people that support me, um, um, social groups and also community groups that help fundraise. They all recognise that music is something in our world that actually is a positive and a healing thing, and it's so underrated. And so we all have it. We all have a job here to get out there and be an
Hmm.
evangelist for music. So that's music's my faith.
Hmm. So, where can people find you on social media if they want to keep up with what you're doing, Dave?
Yeah, you'll find me on Dave Cox Music on Facebook, and also davecoxmusic.co is my webpage. You'll find me there, and you'll find some more aspects to my songs, and also you can actually buy my music at blueshamrock.com in Australia. They're a website and a promoter of music. So look up Blue Shamrock, and you'll find all my songs on there for sale, including my latest song, which is called Can't Waste a Day. So I'm glad to be here, and I'm not wasting a minute talking to you.
That's awesome. So, do you have a message for your fans or me or anyone that might be listening or watching this?
Oh, the message is keep supporting independent artists, because they're just full of creativity and energy. And and if you reach out and do something for an indie, I mean, that's really good, because you just don't know their story. For years and years they've been struggling and writing and trying to get their message out, and a lot of them have such wonderful ideas. So my message is, if you can, put your arms around an indie for sure.
And I think that is totally agreeable. You don't realize, where indies come from. And I think, we need to support them more than ever because, how is anyone going to know who they are if no one's playing their music or telling everyone about them?
Yeah, and look, and thank you for the work you do, because it's appreciated, valued, and I'm humbled that you're taking the time to talk to me, sitting in a little garage in Australia, in Melbourne, and talking about independent music. It's beautiful.
You are most welcome. And is there anything I forgot to mention that you'd like to mention, my friend?
No, I think we're good. And again, please have a look at my music, and make sure that no one ever wastes a day. They're so important. Get on with them.
Totally. And never waste a day by listening to the Kayden Gordon Show, today's best country mix. Get it?
Yeah, that's it.
Ah, there you go. I got it there. I was thinking about saying that, but I was like, but I did anyway. So there you go.
No worries. That's great. Fantastic.
And again, I would like to thank Dave Cox for coming on the Kayden Gordon Show, today's best country mix. We appreciate it so much.
Yeah, cheers, mate. It's really good to talk to you, and thanks again for your support. You're great, and don't ever forget, us Aussies, we have a very soft spot for you, US people. We love you dearly, and we consider you to be our brothers and sisters.